So,
I was needy from
yeah, okay. Now, we kind of said what kind of actions set us up at risk, what kind of habits will set us up at risk. We all have habits, and not all of our habits are good, okay? So what kind of habits do you have that would set you up for being at risk of an accident? My bad one is speed. I'll admit it right now.
Not swing the turn wide enough.
Okay, yep, okay.
You jumped on that for anybody else. For everybody else did.
Okay. So again, just that lack of attention, those younger age kids and stuff coming out of the fire department, that 18 to 21 years of age, they just don't have behind the wheel time like you and I, okay? And that's a bad thing. I mean, I don't care how, whether they're operating a personal vehicle or if they're operating a Del Rapids Fire or Del Rapids ambulance thing, that lack of experience can bite them, okay? I don't know if you guys have a limitation that you say, hey, if you're under 21 years of age, you can join the fire department, but you can't drive. I don't know your policies inside and out.
I think it's under 21 you can't drive, right? You have to be 21 to be a full. I think that's it.
Okay, and that's Paramedics Plus policy. I mean, you gotta be 21 years of age to operate, so they really don't even hire anybody unless you're a VST, Vehicle Stock Supply Tech. That's there. Again, following too closely. I mean, reluctantly, it's there. I kinda get agitated when I'm driving down and somebody's right on my bumper. I just taunt them more and I slow down. Okay? Probably not the best thing to do. So again, just following too close, okay? Keep in mind, you guys and gals, you run a lot of, 95% of your calls are outside the city limits of Del Rapids, I believe, I don't know. So you can outdrive your siren. How many people actually visually look in their mirrors on a regular basis?
Truck drivers.
Truck drivers are kind of, and I say UPS drivers because I worked for UPS for 10 years. I actually picked up a fairly decent habit from them that you scan your driver's mirror, scan across, look at your passenger's mirror, and you just continually going back and forth. But you guys have all been responding on an emergency, your light's on, and there's 3 cars in front of you that start pulling over to the side, but the one directly in front of you is just driving down the road. Because they're not looking in their mirrors.
They got no idea.
Yeah, they're like, hey, look at those guys are pulling over for me so I can go by. No, they're pulling over for the fire truck that's behind you, okay? So again, watch that following distance. You guys drive a whole lot heavier piece of equipment than I do, whether I'm in the ambulance or not. Your vehicle's at 30,000 pounds, okay? If not more, depending on how much water you got on board, things like that. All contributing factors, your braking distance is going to be affected. Speed, that's my downfall. I don't care if it's 952, 951, that thing's to the floor, okay? It just is. I want to get to where I'm needed. Once I'm there, I'm not a big concern that, getting them to the hospital, okay? Speed increases your chance of having an accident. I could be the best driver in the world, but all of a sudden the road surface changes on me. It becomes black ice, I blow a tire, all that stuff's contributing factors. Now I'm at kind of the mercy of the driver or whoever, truck, that I survive it or not, okay? Failing to be aware of your surroundings, okay? Just scanning that road, looking for those hazards. Things like that. Those rapid lane changes. Once in a while we got to do that evasive maneuver because the car in front of us all of a sudden just slams on their brakes. Do we have that cushion? Do we know what's beside us to the right and we can safely move that way? Just that lack of skill when we kind of get into the younger age people. And then ultimately, maybe we're just being ignorant, we're breaking laws, and we know we're doing it. We're negligent. We know what's right to do, but I'm going to break it anyways. Yeah. When somebody says due regard for safety, what does that mean to you?
You're making an attempt,
Making an attempt for what?
be safe for yourself and your surroundings and
Okay.
other people.
So ultimately, I mean, it's just kind of definition is a reasonable, careful person performing similar duties under similar circumstances would act as you are acting. Okay? And I think we can all think about a call that we went on, we're driving, whatever, to say, yeah, I broke that. Okay? I mean, whether it's in your personal vehicle, trying to get to the fire station, to get in the truck, I mean, it's there. I mean, we do it. The blue lights are kind of that permission you're asking to go around them. It doesn't give you permission to blow stop signs, to break the speed limit. It's that maybe they'll pull over so you can go by them and get to the fire station 30 seconds sooner. Ultimately, emergency lights, and they say EMS side of it, we only normally gain seconds when we have them on. I mean, really, ultimately, that's what it boils down to. If I say negligence, what is negligence to you?
Careless.
Okay? I like the word careless. What else?
Knowing you're doing something wrong.
Okay? So again, it's any action that violates your standard operating procedures. I'm sure Del Rapids Fire has some type of standard operating procedures that says, you're operator of the truck, here's what we expect of you. Everybody's gonna be in a seatbelt. You're gonna be in a seatbelt. You're gonna operate it at 10 miles over the posted speed limit. Whatever it would be, those need to be department orientated, okay? Things like that. What is gross negligence? So we kind of said, what's negligence? Now what is gross negligence?
Carelessness with a heavy vehicle.
Okay, exactly. So you know what to do and what's expected of you, right? But you chose not to do that. You chose to do it your way. Okay? So ultimately, you knew it was safe and the pertinent thing to do. You knew the possible consequences, and you chose to do it anyways. That is gross negligence. 90% of all lawsuits that involve any type of emergency agency, law enforcement, fire, or EMS, this is normally the one that they go after to say you were gross negligent, and they find that one person somewhere in the nation who they ship in here, sit on the witness stand and say, yeah, I wouldn't have done that. And the judge pretty much will, guilty. Yeah? It's there, and they'll find that one individual to do it, okay? So ultimately, you need to be able to defend all actions that you're doing, okay? Everything that we do nowadays, especially when we're in the eyes of the public, eyes of the media, we need to be able to justify, why did I do what I'm doing, okay? So when you choose to operate illegally, you know the risk factors. You know what's gonna happen, you know the possible consequences. What are the risk factors? What kind of risk factors are there?
Well, you're personally liable for everything, right?
You are. Yep, so you can go look at legal issues. Okay, and those legal issues can be citations. Law enforcement is normally 95% of all car accidents, somebody gets a ticket. Okay? And reluctantly, fire trucks, ambulance, other law enforcement and officers have been issued tickets. That's what they gotta do. Somebody caused a wreck. Okay? So again, you might be injured. Okay? Wearing seatbelts is a huge preventative thing. I hope you have a policy that when your fire trucks are moving, everybody's in their seatbelts. Okay? You could be fired or removed from the department. Okay? Citations, we talked about that. It's not gonna be just the department's insurance that's gonna go up, your personal insurance rates are gonna go up. Because it doesn't matter if you're operating Eugene's vehicle, Del Rapids Fire, you're in an accident, your insurance company hears about it, your insurance rates are gonna go up. Lastly, and God forbid this one, somebody's killed and you're killed. Yeah. What does the emergency signal and what's that give us the right to do? Does it give us any rights? Okay, it does not give us rights of any type. What are we asking for?
Courtesy.
Courtesy for what?
Right away.
To the right of way. That the lay public will yield the right of way to us. Okay, so they pretty much just says, hey, there's an emergency vehicle coming. You got your lights on, got your sirens on, so they hear it. They start looking around, where are they at? I can hear them, but I don't see them. Okay? And then we're asking that they yield or give us courtesy the right of way. Okay? State law says any emergency vehicle that's approaching you, you are to pull to the right and come to a complete stop until they pass you. Doesn't matter if it's an oncoming car or one coming behind you. That's what state law reads. Okay? Does everybody do that?
No.
No. Okay? Like I said, I work Sioux Falls, Fairmax Plus in Sioux Falls. I mean, people are idiots. They like slam on their brakes, they go to the left rather than the right. You're like, oh my God, stop this. But again, you know, and it kind of varies state to state how the state regulations or laws are written. Because if you go into Iowa, Iowa just says that you have to pull to the closest curb that you're accessible to. So they could go to the left and they're meeting Iowa's requirements.
Explains it all.
Okay? What's that?
That does.
Explains it all.
I agree.
So again, I mean, what kind of impaired drivers are out there that we're exposed to?
Everything you can think of.
I mean, you got people taking care of kids crying in the seat, the radio's turned up. I love pulling up next to those ones that are boom, boom, boom. You're like, you'd never hear an emergency vehicle until they were going by. Okay? So you have a lot of distractions within the occupant's compartment. Okay? Maintaining kids, the radio. Okay? What other kind of impairments are out there?
Hearing impairments?
Hearing impairments. Do you think there's people driving the roads of South Dakota that are legally deaf?
Yep.
There are.
There's some that are legally blind.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay? There's, there, you know, it's there. Okay?
those pretty little high school girls putting on makeup on the cell phone, driving with their knees
Yeah.
almost every morning.
Yeah. Okay?
Man,
So-
I see a guy reading the newspaper every morning driving down the road.
Yes. There's all
Are
kinds
you
of
kidding
things.
me?
Okay? So ultimately, lights and sirens usage, you know, again, we're asking the permission to exceed the posted speed limit. Your department should have something in place that says, we expect you never to exceed faster than X miles an hour. Okay? So Paramedics Plus, our policy is 10 miles an hour over the posted speed limit. Okay? I don't know if Del Rapids CMS has any of that. I break it every time. But I don't know if they have it. It should be in place because it's kind of at least protecting them. Because it'd be nice for the chief or city council or whoever's in that trial to say, here's our policy. Eugene signed it on this given date that he would not exceed 10 miles over the posted speed limit. That particular day, I'm driving 20 over, I'm in an accident, kind of clears the company. It's me. It's all now coming down to me. Okay? And then it gives us that right away, we're asking that permission to drive through a controlled intersection, whether it's a red light or a four-way stop. But we only do that after we come to a complete stop, clear the intersection, and proceed through in a cautious manner. Yeah? We always stop at the four-way stop down here, right?
Yeah,
Each and every one of us?
sure.
Yeah. My ass you do, okay? Because I don't do it all the time, okay? But you know the risk factors. What if you get hit? You know? I think that car stopped for me, but I start going and they T-bone me, my fault.
Yeah, so even if you get hit, no matter how you look at it, it's always your fault.
They're gonna shop for you, yes. That attorney will try to get something out. They'll find that attorney that's gonna get something out of it. Okay? So again, what does state laws read? Does anybody know how the South Dakota state laws actually read?
Last time I
Reference lights and sirens.
looked at it, it said that you couldn't, said that there were exemptions if it was lights and sirens, but if you had an emergency vehicle without lights and sirens, you had to obey all posted laws.
Okay. The nice thing that kind of takes a little bit of the burden off of you and I as emergency vehicle operators within the county of Minnehaha County is Metro dispatch actually determines our method of response. Okay, so whether it's a priority 3 call or a priority 2 call. So by them doing that takes a little bit of the liability off your organizational, and it kind of puts it to them. But ultimately, state law says that if you have your lights on, you have to have your audio on also. So if your lights are on, your siren should be activated. Okay?
I thought that was only in the city limits.
No. Well, there's an exception that says unless you're on a rural roadway with low frequency traffic, it's appropriate to operate lights only.
That's pretty much what I do.
Okay?
So what about
But you do it all the time.
what about going down Main Street and like if I'm ever running sirens, I usually shut it off during Main Street because they get so pissed. And it echoes.
No,
I mean,
I always leave it on because
It's probably,
you get,
probably
I-
more important down on Main Street.
Well, I blip it as we go down, but maybe I should
you
leave
get
it
so
on.
many cars.
But that's where you
somebody
bring in the
standing
speed
there.
factor.
Yeah.
You limit a Main Street 15 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Some little kid jerks doing cars, you probably should be doing more than 20, 25 at the most. I don't care what the hell's going on.
I'm always worried somebody's gonna jump out from between a car or
Yeah.
something.
And that's even responding to the station.
Exactly. I mean, this is your personal vehicle from the time of dispatch to when you complete the call in the fire apparatus. Truthfully, you are functioning as Bell Rapids Fire. You get in an accident, come into the station, they're gonna look at Del Rapids Fire.
Hmm.
You know, especially if you have your blue light on. I mean, it's ultimately gonna say you were functioning as a Del Rapids firefighter, and Del Rapids Fire is gonna get pulled into it.
Because in 20 seconds you'd save by hauling ass down Main Street, probably not gonna make a difference what's going on.
Nope.
Speaking, think about it realistically.
Probably get disregarded by the time we get the truck in.
And for starters, I always use this philosophy when I'm orientating staff, whether it's flight staff at Sanford, you know, whose emergency is that? Is that your emergency? It's the patient or family's emergency. That's whose emergency it is, okay? And there's two faults to this. So it's their emergency, don't make it your emergency. That you get in an accident, you create another call, because now you start putting stress into your whole system, you know. So again, it's their emergency, don't make it your emergency, and then don't create another emergency that another crew or another entity needs to respond to. I mean, ultimately, that's the huge thing, okay? Seatbelts. I would sure hope Del Rapids Fire has a policy or standard operating procedure in place that says you're in the fire truck and this fire truck's moving, your seatbelts need to be on.
And it is state law.
It is the state law, okay?
Do you just abide by it? Probably not.
Yeah.
We're getting better, slowly.
So again, why do you wear your seatbelts?
Safety.
Who's gonna find out? Who's gonna find out if I don't put my seatbelt on?
Some of the newer trucks have the recording devices in.
Yeah. And Del Rapids Fire, or Del Rapids Ambulance doesn't, Paramex Plus does. I'm great about wearing my seatbelt. 100% of the time when I'm in an ambulance, I suck when I'm in my personal vehicle. I'll admit it. Okay? I've heard the people die when they wear their seatbelts.
You.
Okay? And that's some people's excuse. Oh my God, they drove off, flipped their car upside down, and they drowned in the water. Well, they probably would have drowned without having their seatbelt on versus that the seatbelt's what made them drown. Okay? And as stated, it's the law. truthfully, state law says, don't matter what kind of vehicle you're operating, your seatbelt needs to be on. State law requires seatbelts. I would sure hope Del Rapids Fire has some standard operating procedure that requires all personnel to have their seatbelts on. Oops, I never got rid of that. Should say ambulance or company vehicles in motion. What human factors influence our habits? Remember what they mentioned in the video?
Stress,
Okay?
adrenaline.
Your attitude. If you were just in an argument with your significant other and the radio goes off and you get in your vehicle, do you think your driving has your undivided attention? No, it does not. You're pissed off, okay? Your driving knowledge. I talked about this. State of mind kind of goes with your attitude. Judgment making decisions. Okay? Is it a rainy day like it was today? Are you going to slow down a little bit? Is this going to affect your handling? Physical ability. Okay? It's the reason why Kelly lets me drive when we're going on the calls. Physical ability just isn't there.
He doesn't let it.
Okay? Experience. Experience will get you into trouble. Okay?
Because you think you know.
Because you get your confidence. Yeah, 42 years I've never wrecked an ambulance. It's gonna happen.
Better knock on that door, man.
I know, okay? 42 years I've never had any type of accident in an ambulance, okay? Eventually it's gonna happen. And the miles that we put on vehicles, eventually it's gonna happen, okay? Our driving habits, as I said, I suck at speed. I'm bad, I admit it. In your driving skills, each one of us, when those tones go off, we get that adrenaline rush. Doesn't matter if you're the newbie on the service or you're that 42-year veteran. Okay? And depending on the nature of the call, that adrenaline can escalate. That peds patient not breathing. Everybody's adrenaline is here. Okay? 95-year-old grandma that fell and is bleeding from her head, my adrenaline rush is here.
Really? Enough to where you'd leave your partner?
Well, when you're going poop, and I don't know how long you're gonna be,
That was exactly our call.
okay? I gotta get there.
You left him?
I did, he was going poop.
That's awesome.
I walked out and watched him drive away.
Put your pants
Bitch
right
off!
Sat out there for like 5 minutes waiting for him. I gotta give up.
Seconds.
It was actually at the dollar store. He can walk. Okay?
I didn't run, I walked.
Well, you just pooped.
Yeah. Okay, so that's there. I like the one that says, what he says, was that a dog I just hit? Sweet. The cat driving this car. So what kind of characteristics of the vehicle will influence our driving?
Wait.
Length, weight,
Height.
height, velocity. So again, weight, center of gravity, turning radius, the vehicle size overall. Okay? Again, fire trucks are completely different than EMS vehicles. I mean, our EMS vehicles probably weigh 14,000, 16,000 pounds. Your fire trucks are 30 to 50,000 pounds. I don't know. Depending on how much water you carry.
1,800 gallons.
We got it figured out one time.
You know, so there is a ton of weight behind the vehicles that you operate. Okay?
We shouldn't be driving over some bridges.
And each vehicle's a little bit different.
Drive fast, go through.
Drive fast, hold on your windows before you hit it.
Okay? So again, just kind of keep those in mind. Okay? So what kind of outside characteristics are going to influence us, are going to affect our driving?
Weather.
Okay? Road surfaces, weather, are there corners? How sharp are the corners? Because reluctantly you get that circumferential force where it tries to go straight and you're trying to make it go around. Okay? You guys carry water. I don't care how full those tanks are. you're gonna get that water sloshing in those tanks, it's gonna go to the outside. Most common accident within fire are your rollovers on your curbs, secondary to your intersection accidents. You come to that curve, and, you know, whether it's expected or unexpected, you go to turn, you get that velocity of the water shifting, and all of a sudden you're on your side. Traction, condition of the tires, condition of the road. Okay. What's your vision like? Reluctantly, and I don't know statistics as far as fire. EMS side, 70% of our accidents, actually 67 to 70% of our accidents happen at night. Okay? Is within EMS. I can't imagine fire being much differently. Okay? Impairs our vision. We don't see those obstacles, we don't see the deer, we don't see that stuff. Fog and snow are gonna impair it. Crosswinds, I don't know if they have so much of an influence on fire apparatuses as they do with EMS. When we drive an interstate, the wind coming out of the west, go underneath, and when you come back out, it's like blowing you over into the oncoming lanes. Night driving, we talked about. Keep in mind this centrifugal force thing. Your vehicle wants to go in a forward straight line, and now you're trying to turn it, and it gets that top heavy center of gravity is going to influence you. Okay? So like I said, emergency vehicles coming into the curve, it wants to continue in that straight line motion. You're trying to turn it to make it go left. You get that center of gravity rotating, that water moving in the tank. Potentially you're going to end up on the side. Adjust your conditions to, as I stated, you know, bumps, mud, potholes, animals, tree limbs, even leaves in the fall when they're on there. Get a lot of mildew underneath them, can impede your driving, especially your braking. Rain, and then like I said, reluctantly, we live in South Dakota, so the snow, the sleet, the ice, the hail, all going to affect our, and those are normally the times we're going out. Okay? That's when we're called, is we're going out. So, we talked about stopping distance. Keep in mind, as we get older, our reflexes slow down. I'm still like a cat though. I land on all fours when I fall. But reluctantly, our reaction time is going to slow down. So you got to put in from the time you recognize that there's an incident that you need to start braking, that 7/8 of a second or whatever they were saying in the video, to what the velocity of your vehicle, the weight, the tire condition, the road surfaces, all contributing factors, how well the brake pads are, okay, are all going to impede the stopping distance. Okay? So, as it said in the video, you're driving that 60 miles an hour, you move 45 feet before you're even on the brakes. Then you got to apply the brakes, hoping they don't lock up, but now you have anti-lock brakes, which sometimes I hate. But I mean, they're just there. Everybody has that safety of cushion, right? So when you're operating these vehicles, you know what's on each side of you and what's behind you, as well as what's ahead of you. Okay? And whoever else is riding in the passenger seat should be that same way. They should know what's to the left, what's to the right, what's in the front, what's in the back. Okay? So that if you have to make that evasive maneuver, you know you're clear to the right, you know you're clear to the left, and you can go that direction. Okay? As I said before, EJ's pet peeve, somebody starts to tailgate me, I just make it worse, I slow down. Okay? Probably not the best thing to do. Accelerate, get that cushion, then slow off, or slow down and let them go around you. Okay? So again, identify any hazards that are there. Those deciding responses, what will I do if this happens? I'm going to the right, I'm going to the left, okay? Things like that. Reacting correctly, okay? Everybody has that contingency plan. What will you do if you go to step on the brakes and the brakes don't work?
Use emergency brake.
Exactly. What's that?
Downshift.
Downshift, I'm good with that. But theoretically, even in your personal vehicles, you should run these incidents. What kind of incidents can happen? My brakes can fail, my steering can fail, the hood can pop up, take your vision away, okay? I'm trying to think what else is there.
Front tire could blow.
Yeah, okay, talking about that, what is the response, whether you're driving a company vehicle or personal vehicle? What do you do when a tire explodes or blows? What's your first, do you put on the brakes immediately?
Let off the gas.
Okay,
Grab the steering wheel with both hands and try to keep it straight.
okay.
Yep.
Theoretically, if you follow all procedures, is the first thing you should do is you need to accelerate. Keep that forward motion, okay? Worst thing you can do is put on the brakes. You're going for a ride if you put on the brakes immediately, okay? To let off the brakes, and as long as you're there, potentially that may work well for you, but ultimately, if you listen to what manufacturers say and stuff, you should briefly just get on the gas pedal, keep that forward motion, and then slowly slow it down, pull to the side of the roadway. Yeah. Communication with others. There's not only traffic, cars, motor vehicles that we need to be contending with, we need to think of pedestrians. Okay, we need to think of the pedestrian side, we need to think of the bicyclist. As we said, we have motor vehicle operators out there that have vision impairments, hearing impairments. They could be that person walking down the street, walking at that intersection, riding that bicycle. So make sure that your lights are on, you have your siren on if it's needed, make eye contact with them. Hand gestures, this is not the hand gesture you want to use them, okay? Siren, that kind of stuff. Backing, this is where a vast majority of accidents occur, is backing. If you're using a spotter, that spotter should be in the left rear view mirror. Okay? You should have your window down, and that's so that if the spotter starts to yell at you, you hear them. Keep the backer in view anytime you're there, and then use your mirrors and back slowly until your backing moves completed. If for some reason you don't have a spotter, you need to stop the vehicle, exit the vehicle, do a complete walk around, looking high and low, what kind of hazards are there. Re-enter the truck, lower the window down, back slowly until your backing's complete. Okay. Fire trucks have the drive cam or the backing cams?
No, we don't.
I don't like them personally, but some people love them. I don't know, what do you think of
I
those?
think they're distracting.
Yeah. We have one particular person in our department, I won't throw them under the bus, that even when we're driving from Sioux Falls and stuff, they turn on the drive cam, or the backing cam. I'm like, why do you keep turning that on? Well, I want to see what's going on behind me. No, you need to keep your eyes forward, okay?
Watch where you're going, not where you've been.
Yeah. So, yeah. Questions you have?
So whenever we've got lights on, we need to have the siren on.
Theoretically, state law reads that, yes. Unless you're in a low-frequency rural highway or roadway.
So what's low frequency rules?
Exactly.
Is this
So
highway
what?
going onto the interstate low frequency rule?
That I would say is probably gonna be high volume. I was gonna say, any private vehicles, that if you're meeting a vehicle, more than one vehicle every 3 miles, that would be a low frequency roadway.
And a lot of that in rural areas, if you see a car coming, hit the side.
Yeah,
It's
If you
more
don't-
for your comfort in the cab
Yeah.
than it is anybody else.
yeah,
That's what it's all about.
yeah.
If you see 3 cars, let her rip. You know, for 30 seconds, whatever it takes to pass them.
Yeah, and I do it all the time in the ambulance, and I think Kelly can kind of vouch for it, you know, I mean, if we're driving from here to Colton and we get out there and there's no traffic, I turn it off, but now, all of a sudden I see a car either going the same direction or coming towards me, as you said, turn on my siren, go around them, turn it back off, okay? Bad habit I probably do is when I go over the interstate, that's actually a rise, and you got that other traffic over there. Probably should have it on when I come past the billions, you know, that way, and say, hey, it was on, I don't, you know, so I would say probably a vehicle, one vehicle in a 3 mile time frame would probably be low volume, anything above that makes it a high traffic area.